doing what you and I have done in person, but we're doing it here on Substack. So first of all, thank you for the subscribers that are visiting us today, because you are our guest at an online salon party where the guest of honor is none other than E. Jean Carroll, living hero and national bestseller. So, E. Jean, just really briefly, give our friends a little synopsis of what it was like when I had not one, but two salon parties for you, because you were such a hot ticket. I had one that was ladies only and one that was mixed where we allowed men.
It was unforgettable. I don't know which one to start talking about first. First of all, you had me to your house as a guest. You greeted me. You brought me in. You gave me my own special room. Do you remember that? And you said, let's see what you wear. So I took out my dress and you said, here's your steamer. And you took me to your special steaming room where some of your wigs are. Then I demanded to see your closet. And your closet. Celine Dion has nothing on
Remember,
your closet.
Don't you throw Celine in my face right now.
I'm telling you. So I got to see your closet. So I was all prepared for a nice night, but I had no idea, because you had one really warm and celebrated and famous person walk in right after the other. So I was starstruck. They were such a wonderful, and we sat at a huge table, beautiful, and you had your own private chef who would come out and announce the food. And we were sitting at this wonderful table, and the lights and the house, and we were on top of a mountain in Malibu, and it was fabulous. But here's the thing. You ran it like Madame de Stael. Now, Madame de Stael, Madame de Stael had the first and most brilliant literary salon in history. Napoleon came to her salon. She was a lettered, educated woman. And it was the first on record where the French intellectuals and celebrities and actors and actresses of their time gathered to discuss. Actually, many of the ideas for the French Revolution were born in Madame de Stael's room. So now you had the equivalent, very close to that, and you ran it like Madame de Stael, and you wouldn't let anybody talk after.
No.
Okay, you would present a topic.
First of all, there's no phones allowed at the table. And the reason I want to tell everybody this is I want to encourage everyone to have your own salons. You don't have to have a fancy chef or anything. You can have a pizza party, but it's all about bringing back the art of conversation.
Yes.
And no phones allowed at the table, no exceptions. I don't want to hear about, what if my kid calls me? There's a number at the house that you give out that's like someone can answer, that's designated to be okay. So emergencies taken care of. Oh, this is key. Only one person can talk at a time, because it's very tempting when you're at a table full of all, sometimes they're new people, because I try to put the introverts next to the extroverts and go back and forth, and of course separate the couples. And when one person talks at a time, you get to actually know them. And when you start having side conversations, that's when it goes to shit.
It was brilliant. It was so. Now, oddly enough, you would think because it's so strongly structured, there'd be no warmth. But that evening was warm and almost cozy, because we could actually hear what other people were saying. We didn't have to shout over one another. And great minds, you had a couple of really great minds. You had Academy Award winners. You had many. So there were so many Emmy nominations at this table, starting with you, that these are all people.
I had Emmy winners. In fact, one of my jokes is to go around the table and make everyone give bona fides. And it's a bit tongue in cheek, but I actually want to do that here online.
Yes.
So I want both of us to look at commenters. Like I see
Yes.
Gail has joined.
Hello, Gail.
Hello, welcome to everyone. Hi, Gail. And anyone who feels comfortable, and if you were at a live one, I wouldn't ask if you were comfortable. I would just make you do it. But if you wouldn't mind, give Eugene and I just maybe one line about yourself. Like someone
Yeah.
says, Kath feeling the unheard latchkey kids with the salon parties. I was
Oh,
the
that's
latchkey
great.
kid. Both my parents worked full time, and so I was a latchkey kid. Eugene, explain to the youngs what a latchkey kid is.
I think they know. It's when your mom and dad both work and you come home from school, you don't have supervision. You get to turn the key and go in and watch I Love Lucy reruns, or have the kids over and get into the liquor cabinet, or smoke your first cigarette, or actually learn about life with your friends because your mom and dad ain't coming home till 6:30. So that's what a latchkey is.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
I was a latchkey kid. So Gen X latchkey kid here. A Gen Xer, I love it. Okay. Anybody else? I know how to make homemade mono, MANO. Is that booze? I don't know what that is. You guys are going above my head. Although
Yeah,
I don't drink, so I wouldn't know booze. Gen Xers in the house. Manischewitz. Homemade Manischewitz. See, that's what you're going to hear at a salon that you're not going to hear at a regular party. Latchkey kid here, elder millennial, managed to survive. Someone says mayonnaise.
that's
Okay, so,
Yeah, Val Monroe and my sister
yep. Hello and
Candy has
welcome.
joined. This is great. Did you?
Another millennial.
Yes, this is great. Latchkey. We got some latchkey kids here. Spinwool mom,
I
love it. Huh. Okay, we had some
That's what is
fascinating people.
stronger.
And my
Okay,
sister
now
here,
EG.
Candy. Yeah, my sister Candy joined
No,
us.
your sister here?
Yeah,
Oh, hi. Wait, is her name Candy?
yeah, Candy.
Course, I read the book. By the way, not only can I recommend this book, I can't recommend it enough, but I'm partial, and maybe I shouldn't say this because I don't know if it affects the bestsellers list, but I love the audio version because Eugene,
Oh,
you're just like that. And so when you guys listen to Eugene read the book, it's just like getting to know her, and she's just like this. She's not putting on a facade.
uh,
What you see is what you get in the best way.
yeah,
And I listened to it once. I'm going to listen to it again. And I love that your sister was there with you for the strife that you've been through and all the battles that you prevailed in. And that's why you're a living legend. And at one of the salons that I had for Eugene was giving her bona fides as if we didn't know about her, but everybody has to give their bona fides. And she said, and I am the first person to hold Trump accountable in a court of law. And spontaneously, everyone at the table stood and applauded. And that's the kind of thing that happens and should. But if everybody was having their own conversations, they wouldn't have heard that moment. Now,
no.
E.G., do you remember the excellent question that Megan Mullally came up with? Because I wanted to put that to our salon.
I
It
remember.
was, who's the person in your life besides a family member? Because everyone's going to probably say their parents. Who's someone in your life that helped form the person you are today?
Yes, yes. I remember, and I
So, E.G.,
remember.
you're first. You're first. Who is, besides your parents, who helped make you the person you are, the person you've become?
Oh my God.
Is it Hunter S. Thompson?
No, I'm going to say, now this is going to sound strange, but Heidi, my dog,
I
we,
love it.
we traveled over hill and dale. I was a country kid. There were no, Candy will tell you that we had no playmates. So my playmate until Candy grew up so I could torture her, but until she was old enough so I could torture her, my my best friend was my dog Heidi, and we would go off. My mother would open the front door and just we'd go out. We lived in the sticks, and it was Heidi and me. It was me and Heidi. We would go off on our
Was
adventures
it the
and
unconditional love or the playfulness?
unconditional love. And Heidi taught me to be brave and to adventure out and not to stop and to look at interesting things and to soak it all in and to share my sandwiches, right? Bite for Heidi, bite for me. I think, seriously, I think it was a dog.
I love it. I love it. Okay, we're getting some other answers coming in. Someone says their math teacher was very formative, which is great. Um, Someone says okay to have different opinions, so that came from someone. My figure skating coach,
I saw that. That
love
was
for a
a
doctor of mine
doctor.
that got me well. Fantastic. Nothing like a good doctor, and I
Kathy,
should
who
know.
was
I've had
yours?
all kinds, if you know what I mean.
Wow.
I had a hysterectomy, and a month later, I had a facelift.
Who was the person who had the biggest effect on your life aside from your mother and dad? Kathy Griffin.
Okay, this is going to sound corny because it's somebody I didn't know, but I would probably say Valerie Harper, who played Rhoda on the Mary Tyler Moore
Wow.
show, because I knew I wanted to be an actress and be
Yeah.
funny ever since I could remember, but I knew I was never going to be the pretty girl Mary Tyler Moore lead. And as I was watching the great shows like I Love Lucy, I wanted to be Ethel because I thought the sidekick gets to
Oh,
go
yeah.
in,
Yeah,
get the
yeah.
get out, and have all the best lines.
That's perfect. And you grew up to overshoot that mark by I mean, by so much. You have the most, first of all, you've had two bestsellers. You've hit the Amazon #1, the New York Times #1 twice. Not once, twice. Then you have more television comedy specials than any person, man or woman, in the history of television. So you really overshot the
Dead or
size.
alive. Any comedian, dead or alive, also.
Yeah, dead or alive. That's exactly right. Dead or alive. So you overshot
And by the way, my new special is going to come out on YouTube, and it's called Kathy Griffin, My Life on the PTSD List. And I'm trying to get it out there in about 3 weeks. And Eugene, I have a confession. On my last tour called My Life on the PTSD List tour, I have PTSD and I had to have what I call a babysitter on each leg of the tour. So it would be, I would go out for 3 cities, come home for 5 days, go out for 4 cities, come home for 6 days, whatever it was. And Eugene came with me on a run, and it was quite a run. Everything from, were you at the show in Huntington, Long Island?
What's this?
Oh,
This is
that's our
from,
medal.
that's, I won this one. This is
That's
it.
our medal.
Yeah, I won this one. I was with Kathy for a week in the old Riga Royal
Yeah.
Hotel, and boy, did we live it up. Oh, one night,
Oh,
Kathy couldn't budge from the couch, so I went out to get her every kind of ruffled potato chip there was. And listen, and I'm telling you, we had a ball. I got to see her PSTD, Kathy, I got to see that show 5 times. And you get to see it soon on YouTube. And let me tell you, this show rocks. And you will cry.
oh,
You will cry. And you will fall down. It is so unexpected and so funny. And I saw you on Carnegie Hall stage. I saw you in the
Carnegie Hall, but you
Big
played a
Box.
trick because I
Yeah.
gave you a shout out from the stage,
Yeah.
Liza Minnelli style. I did the OG, ladies and gentlemen. I don't often do this, but we have a very special guest in the audience tonight and her friend. And I wanted to announce you and your brilliant attorney, the one and only Robbie Kaplan. And I announced both of you, and you, Eugene, were in the very back in the dark where the audience couldn't see you, but they stood anyway. And Carnegie Hall got on their feet for Eugene Carroll and Robbie Kaplan.
You made him do it. You would have stood at the door and not let out. You wouldn't let them out of Carnegie Hall unless they had stood. No, you did. That show just blew the roof off. That Really? So YouTube is in 3 weeks? We got to see it. It's going to be, it's going to go ahead.
I'm gonna try. Yeah, I'm gonna try for 3 weeks, and I'm gonna, go through the legal clearance, which is, always kind of tricky. But I'm not afraid. I would rather blur out a word than take a word out. But what was it like legally clearing your book? Did you have to spend a lot of time and lawyer money on it?
St. Martin's hired the best attorney in the world to go through it. She
Good.
was, there's nobody who, she biggest First Amendment rights lawyer in the country. She went through it not line by line, but word by word, and everything stayed.
Oh, of course, because you're so smart. You know that
Everything
stuff.
stayed. We
Just really quickly,
adjusted.
let me ask the guest. Just and don't we just want full disclosure. We're not gonna shame anybody, but let us know if you have gotten E. Jean's book yet.
Oh,
Because I have a feeling many of you are here because you've gotten her book.
oh,
And if you haven't, it's just keep holding it up. I can't.
yeah,
It's my favorite.
yeah.
And people are writing. Oh, by the
Kathy,
way, we're getting yeses.
yeah, look at here. Look at here. Oh, my other sister's there. We got both my sisters here. Babs and Barbie's
The
here.
Carrolls.
They're here.
Okay,
And
so
Kathy.
if the Carrolls are here, please tell the other salon guests what happened. What was your experience after my Carnegie Hall show with the Griffin family?
Oh,
Go
Kathy's
ahead.
brother. I love
Come
Kathy's
on.
brother. I've met Kathy's brother before, and he has this wonderful wife, and they had, I think there was somebody else or your nephews. Your nephew was there. And so we had all been
My
done
nephew.
celebrating and everything. And
Yeah.
I was going to go off to my car, and I took off from my car in a parking lot, and I'm walking down the street, and I'm, I'm feeling great. And I start to walk, and at about 7 blocks, I hear my name distantly called. I turn around. The entire Griffin family is running after me down the street. Down the street.
Because you lied. You lied, and if we caught you in a lie, you cannot lie to a Griffin. We said, you are E. Jean Carroll. You cannot just be walking the streets of New York without security or someone looking after you. And then she goes, oh, I parked across the street. So I turned to my brother and I go, I don't trust her. Let's go. And we walked, and your pace was like, I don't know if you considered the Olympics, but there's got to be a sprint category for you. And by the way, she was in like Givenchy and Vivian Westwood shoes or something. And we just finally called her because she wasn't paying attention to the lights.
Yeah,
She's a New Yorker. She see a window and go between two cars, and we are just, and my nephew's like in his 20s and he's trying to
yeah,
keep up with you.
yeah. Oh
She
God.
finally turns around and she goes, oh my God, the Griffins! What the fuck? The Griffins won't leave me alone. I'm going to go for a walk. And we were like, we don't care where you're going. We are following you, lady, even if we have to stay a block behind.
Oh
And we
my
did follow
God.
you.
Oh God. And
Right.
you helped me prove my Bergdorf Goodman point. You helped me prove my
That was
Bergdorf Goodman.
amazing.
That was okay. So Kathy and I decide to go for a walk. Okay. And it's cold. And Kathy puts on her Dolce and Gabbana navy blue coat with all the gold buttons and her hat. She looks fabulous. We are going to walk from the Riga Royal to Bergdorf Goodman's to have lunch. That's what we decide. We're out. The sun is down. Kathy's hair is gleaming in the sun. And New Yorkers are saying, hey, Griffin, love you, baby. Hey, KG, love you, Kathy, love you. One family came up to us. Do you remember that street corner? That whole family said, we just saw your show live? Or did they say, we're going to see your show live?
I couldn't believe it. I was so
Yeah.
thrilled.
So then.
But I was worried for your safety because I worry about you. You know that.
So then we walk into Bergdorf's.
Of all places, people, are you
Nothing.
guys getting this? And I said, are you sure you want
No.
to go to Bergdorf where it happened? And then she said, without skipping a beat, Bergdorf's didn't rate me.
Yeah.
And I said, okay,
right.
then we're going.
So we walked into Bergdorf, and the woman on who was testifying in the trial about Bergdorf's had just gotten through saying, "This is how we treat celebrities. We leave them alone. We maybe acknowledge it. We leave them alone." That was her testimony because Trump had said it. He was his defense lawyer. If I had been in Bergdorf's, they would have. So Kathy Griffin walks into Bergdorf's and nobody starts shouting, "Hey, Griffin! Hey, KG!" Hey. All they did as Kathy walked by was twinkle at her and nod to her like this and smile at her. And we got a very good day. So Kathy Griffin helped prove the case because you were a celebrity, you had walked in, and
What
nobody
about the
started.
women at the next table?
Oh, well, they were great. Yeah, well, it was one of the best restaurants. Wasn't that food good? That food was good.
Uh, okay, stop trying to distract me. So we're there, and I'm there with E. Jean freaking Carroll. So we see the three women at the table. You're pretty much shoulder to shoulder, and we kind of hear them whispering. And of course, I'm obnoxious, and I turned and I was like, "Yes, it's me, the legend, Kathy Griffin." And they laughed, and I go, "Look who I'm with." And they were
Oh,
like, "Is that really E. Jean Carroll?" Like she wasn't even there. And then I'm so obnoxious that I basically paraded E. Jean table to table going, "Look who this is, legend E. Jean Carroll." And people were like, "Oh, oh my God." And it was so touching and New Yorky and sweet and wonderful. So I'm not saying if you see E. Jean, you should bother her like I do. But it was just, I don't know. I hope you felt it was cathartic because obviously it was fun and we had a lot of laughs, but it was just an amazing experience and day.
you know why, Kathy, you do that? Because only you and I know the threats we get constantly. So
Oh,
when we
yeah.
when when Kathy, yeah, when we have a moment, Kathy and I, when we're together, we have love and support for each other because we understand what's going on behind the scenes. So Kathy grabs
Yeah.
that moment to try to make me feel great, and then I will grab that moment to try to make her feel great because behind the scenes, Kathy and I, when we left the lunch at Bergdorf's and we're walking down
I
the street,
mean,
we were having the best time. We've got our arms like we're heading back to the hotel. And this guy
yeah,
really beautifully set up, dark blue overcoat, really, a finance guy type, really, full. He comes walking towards us. He catches us and he looks at Kathy. He says, "You suck," and just kept right on walking. Oh,
I mean, I'm an
yeah,
acquired
it was.
okay, may I read you an email I got last week? Hey, Big
Oh,
Mouth.
yes.
Yeah,
I,
hey,
yeah.
Big Mouth. I don't know that there are people who absolutely, if you don't know there are people who absolutely hate you, then you are as dumb as a box of rocks, which, by the way, is not fair to rocks. Some folks are going to take your antics to heart and try to harm you against uh you or our great president Donald Trump. And then there are others who might do grave harm to you because of your unhinged, deranged antics. May I suggest that you stop your lies and deranged hints to people that are brainless like you? You need to be drop kicked.
Ooh,
Someone might do that. At least I hope they do.
ooh.
If they really if you really need the attention, why don't you strip naked and walk down Sunset Boulevard at noon any day? Which I am not above doing, by the way. I would, and then it goes on and on. You should leave America. And of course, it ends just with die, bitch. And so, what I loved about that one is from an email address, Sage Hawk. And I found her because her name is Sage Hawk. And I'm just laughing because it kind of cracks me up when we get the threats and people use their actual name.
You
So
found her?
I know, oh, I found her in 2 seconds. And by the way, I have to admit, it's a little shocking when it comes from a woman. I don't know why, after 8 years,
It
I'm
is.
still surprised. But have you ever figured out the percentage of dudes versus women that have come at you?
Yeah, it's about 90% men and about 10% women. But that, Kathy, uh, as I told you when we talked about this, I told you to call the FBI on that one. That one was seriously, because, yeah, that, anyway, Kathy gets these by the sleewful. By the sleewful. And look at
But I
Kathy.
just want to remind everybody the picture that Sage Hawk is obviously very offended by is 8 years old. So, Eugene, just know you're
And it was
in
a
for this
joke.
the long haul.
It was a joke. It was a
And covered
joke.
by the First Amendment. And I did run it by my lawyers first, and they all
Of course.
correctly said it is covered by the First Amendment. So I can
And
debunk
then
that one.
Donald Trump made a video with you getting killed. He made that
Yes.
video with you getting killed.
Yeah, he made
The fire and the
and he showed it at Mar-a-Lago for months, and that
yeah.
was
No,
bizarre because I didn't know it was happening.
that. See, this is the flip side of being a comedian. Is the horror
Yeah,
show that goes on
yeah.
underneath the hilarity and good fellowship and wonderful thing when she uplifts the audience at the
And by the way,
so yeah so
oh
that,
well,
that
you up all, and what a lot of people didn't know until your book is that you were one of the rare female writers on Saturday Night Live. You were nominated for an Emmy for your episode. So tell us a little bit, what was that writer's room like, and how many women were in the writer's room at that time?
there was one other Rosie O'Donnell Rosie not Rosie O'Donnell
Don't get me started. I miss her.
oh now there is a bold woman. She just picked up and left and moved to Dublin with her family.
And she was really the first. Like, people come at me for making fun of Trump when I did, but she did it on The View. I mean,
I remember.
almost
Oh, boy,
20
did
years
she go.
ago.
And she's
Yeah.
happy, right? She's happy?
Yes. She is living the dream. She loves Dublin. She's treated like the goddess she is. And, not an easy thing to up and move. So I have another question for the table, and we'll get back to
Yeah.
the writer's room. But another question for the table is, where, if you felt that because of Trumpism you had to relocate,
Oh, good
where
question.
where would you go? And is it a place that you could actually facilitate going there? Like, do you have dual citizenship? Would you consider it? Would you, stay and fight? Like, a lot of people say stay and fight, that sort of thing. So while you guys are typing those out, tell us a little bit about the writer's room at SNL.
Okay, it was for me. It was torture because not a thing. Anything I wrote, Lauren didn't like. I could not get a sketch on there. Could not. I remember
Lauren.
Al Franken one time didn't know I was standing right behind him, and he picked up the sketch that we had done at read through. He said, "Why was this even allowed?"
Well,
the guys, they just didn't get it, and I
yeah,
thought it was hilarious.
yeah,
It was torture to have the sketch read by some great actors
yeah.
in the read through room and silence.
I mean, oh, I know.
Not a joke.
Of course.
And then the
And I feel
hairstylist said to me after the end of it, because the wig people and the hair people and the costume have to be at the read through to make notes. She said to me,
they loved it.
"How? What's the show going to do if you're going to write things like that?"
I thought you were going to say they loved it and they got you.
No,
They
no.
didn't know what they had. They didn't appreciate
some
you.
of
They serve you.
Yeah, thank you. Some of the stuff was now today we'd be rolling in the aisles, but at the time it was just no. Rosie Schuster. We have someone just reminded me it was Rosie Schuster, not Rosie
Okay.
O'Donnell. Yes. Okay, I've been reading
Okay,
good things
somebody's
about
saying they've been thinking
Uruguay.
about Uruguay.
Wow,
I know.
that's interesting choice. South
Most people
America.
say Canada, but that's interesting.
Wow.
I Okay, Jonathan, let me know if there's any countries you can just yell out. Okay, we're hearing Canada, Italy, Mexico,
England.
England, Spain. Everybody thinks Portugal because you don't need a passport to go there, but I've been reading a lot of articles that the Portuguese are like, stop it, you're making the rents go up.
Oh,
So we
yeah.
have to become
Oh,
other issues that are happening in these countries where we can't just
yeah.
be like, hey, we're gonna, expect you to save us. But Portugal is, I'm sure,
Hey,
beautiful.
Kathy,
I,
Kathy, I just love looking at you.
what?
And this is so much
Oh,
fun.
stop!
I just loved
I
it.
know.
I mean, it's like
It.
we're just sitting
I'm
here.
loving it.
I, and this is
Now you know
amazing.
I I put in a little magic hair for you.
The hair is
So
unbelievable.
some of the hair, most of the hair grows out of my head, but some of it is magic,
You have
and
an
so I'm
amazing
not above
head
it.
of hair. Yeah, yeah,
I
really.
knew I was in page 6 because the headline was, I think it was something, negative comedian goes for walk with natural hair. And I was like, okay, I don't see how that's a news item, but
But
my
that,
natural hair is earlier. And I,
yeah.
when I do a 2-hour walk a day, and I know you're a big walker, and no, I don't do hair and makeup for my daily walk. I'm sorry,
So,
world.
Kathy, we're avoiding the subject. I think it's time
Yeah,
to start
yeah.
dating.
Okay. So, first of all, back at you. And second of all, I have a confession because I know that this is a cock block, but I am a proud dog mom of 4, and I sleep with all 4 dogs in the bed every night. And I know that's a cock block, but there's no cocks to block at the moment.
Maybe we should
What's
just,
your
I think we should just have a double date and somebody should fix us up with 2 chaps.
Yes. We would be fun on a double date. I mean, yeah, we'd have to have the salon rule of only one person can talk at a time because you and I would never shut up. But
And
what
if we
if
go
you're,
out to eat, you and I would eat all the food. It would be bad. Can we behave on a double date?
well, first of all, I feel like you've never come clean about Hunter S. Thompson. Eugene wrote a book about what it was like to travel with Hunter S. Thompson, including him driving a car at 110 miles an hour at night without his headlights on.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's
that
not
was
a
normal.
metaphor.
That,
So are you gonna sit here and tell me that you never made out with Hunter S. Thompson, Eugene?
well, you saw that Alina Habba didn't open the deposition, but one of her main deposition questions was, Miss Carroll, I hate to ask you this, but could you tell us how many people you've slept with? I said I could tell her. Then she said, Do you mind telling us how many? I told her the number, and you're going to have to listen to the audiobook to find out. And
Oh
then,
no, she names
oh, I name names. I name names. And Robbie Kaplan,
every name.
Robbie and Hunter was not on the list, was he?
He was not on the list. I
That
can't
is
even.
the key. That's the key.
Okay, but I want you to do an audio version of that book because the physical print book is out there, and I know I should read it, but
Oh,
I just love your
oh,
audio
that's a good
version.
idea. Speaking of which,
I would love what?
Not My Type was number one in Audible for women. Number one in Audible.
Yes,
It's number
yes,
one in
yes, queen.
Audible. And I can't
It's
read.
so good.
And I can't
No,
read.
it's just,
But it's number
who
one.
can? I can't. Reading is obsolete. It's all about the audible. And it just I listened to the book when I was in the hyperbaric chamber trying
Yeah.
to reduce the swelling from my I listened to it on my 2-hour walk because I put
Wait a
it
minute.
on
Why
because
were you?
I don't want to wear AirPods because
why were you in a hyperbolic chamber? Why?
Hyperbaric. Because I go every single day for 90 minutes for the first month after my the facelift, because it puts so much oxygen into your bloodstream that it speeds up the healing and helps reduce the bruising and swelling. And I thought it was
Really?
BS and woo woo, but
No.
there's actually science behind it, and that's why I do it. But I know it's very LA and very
No, you
Malibu and
look
very
so
silly.
good. Whatever it is,
Okay,
it worked.
I I have another question for the table. Will any of you admit what is the most woo woo thing you've done?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
have you done a mushroom journey? Have you done
Oh,
Kundalini yoga, which has been kind of debunked by a documentary? So, Eugene, do you have any woo woo things that you'll admit to doing?
well, I believe in elves.
Oh boy.
I
I
have
thought we
elves
had
right
one
back
restriction
here, right back here.
conversation.
Listen,
Is
I
it
can.
on a shelf?
What? No, no, I'm talking about elves back in the mountains. No, I have elves. So there. Is that woo woo enough for you?
Um, it's just crazy, but let's go with woo woo. Do they have names?
No. Well, yes.
They're
Dido is the queen of the elves. Yes.
oh,
And Roscoe is king
oh,
of the elves, and I know them quite well. Don't take it from me. The elves are back there, and they take care of
okay.
things. I've seen their fires at
Now,
night.
how do the dogs get along with the elves?
Pretty good, pretty good. And the elves they like gifts of honey and cake. They like those things. No, I've got elves, and I'm sure you do too. You're Irish, Scots Irish,
I
like
might
my
be
sisters
an
and
elf
I.
because I also like honey and oh, so somebody asked the question. I'm not a woo woo girl. What is woo woo? Woo woo is like a term for anything that's probably thought of as an elixir or some way to it's from the wellness community, those crazy anti-vaxxers who do too much Bikram yoga. And it's just, people that think that this particular vitamin makes you live 30 years longer. It's
Yeah.
usually something where they think there's science behind it, but there isn't. And look, maybe I'm wrong about the hyperbaric chamber, but
No, you're
supposedly
right.
behind it. And I just am fascinated by that world because it is an entire industry. In fact, the docu-series about Kundalini yoga is fascinating because there wasn't even a guy named Kundalini. He was a taxi driver that started it, and his name was like Smith or something. And yet, there are still people all over the world that swear by Kundalini yoga as opposed to real yoga, which is a really good workout.
Oh,
So
really?
that was woo woo thing.
Okay, we have somebody who had crystals under her bed because her house could have been haunted. Here's a Reiki healer
Okay.
who worked on cancer patients. Ghostly
Okay.
Aaron 9, I support woo woo. Hey, if it helps, says Denise. You got it, Kathy. Thank you. Yeah, okay. I think smart people understand that we can't explain everything, right? We can't explain.
Correct. And well, this stuff doesn't hurt. Like, it's not like
It helped
Reiki is going to
you.
have a bad, you know, say
You
what?
it helped you. It helped
It
you.
it helped me.
It helped.
The stuff I do for my PTSD is ridiculous to the
It,
sublime. Now, Eugene, another person in your book and who testified at both of your trials, will you please tell us about the woman, the amazing expert in PTSD that works with the military? Because everyone should know her name.
oh, Dr. Leslie Leibowitz. Dr. Leslie
Yeah.
Leibowitz is one of the leading, if not the leading, experts on post-traumatic syndrome trauma um, in the United States. She created the sexual assault protocol for the U.S. Army and for the U.S. Veterans Administration. She is not messing around. She understands. She told when she was on the witness stand, her credentials are such that just hearing what her work is the jury would get sick to their stomachs because it's so frightening. But what she did with the jury, she
Yeah.
told story after story about a little girl in the Second World War holding her mother's hand in Finland, and some bombs began dropping, and the mother did something. We all figured we'd scoop up her baby girl and run. What the mother did was drop her baby's hand and run for her hat. That's what trauma does
Yeah.
her. So she told simple stories after simple story to the jury. So by the time she was done speaking, the jury members understood the harms that were done to me better than if Sigmund Freud had been in that witness chair. She didn't
Because people
even.
really got hung up on something, which I got from minute one, is the fact that you never let go of your purse
Oh, right.
during the assault. And that's a very sort of in line with what she's talking about,
Yeah.
PTSD thing to do.
Yeah. Yes. And of course, Joe Tagopina and Alina Haba Esquire just beat up on me for not screaming. Just beat up on me for not screaming.
I
Because
do love how you give her the Esquire every time. And yet you are very respectful of them in your book. And I, of course, am not so respectful of their work or their ways and means, but you really are. And you give them credit and you talk about how Joe Tacopina is to be feared. You would not want to go up against him, even though you prevailed and swept up the floor with him. And Alina Haba, who, to my knowledge, her experience was defending her husband who owned a parking garage prior to becoming the floor. Well, I was going to say, I almost said former president's attorney because I can't believe he's president again. Um, and so, why were you so respectful of them when you could have just let them have it and really got down on the mud?
well, Alina Haba Esquire is, first of all, she's a very beautiful woman and extremely confident. And she has a beautiful voice. She dresses beautifully. And she's marvelously arrogant. Now, she did not know diddly squat about the law. She did not know how to introduce a document. She would say, she was at one time cross-examining me. And being cross-examined like from Alina Haba Esquire is like the evil queen offering Snow White the apple. Those are what her questions are like.
Yeah.
And Robbie Kaplan, during one of her questions, stands up and objects. And Alina Haba Esquire actually turned to Judge Kaplan and said, "Why is she objecting?" And Judge Kaplan said, "It's not my law school exam." So she was not excellent at the law, but she defended Donald Trump brilliantly because who won the election? Who won?
I
So
I don't
she
think you
did.
should ask me because people think I'm tinfoil hat because I don't think he won in a free and fair election this time.
Oh,
No, I'm going to take a hit for that. And I understand, but that's just my humble opinion. I don't trust the Elon connection. I have my suspicions. And yet, at the tender age of 64, I never thought I would say something. And I know that sounds crazy, but I just had to put that out there because I can't resist getting in trouble.
well, there's a wave of people who agree with you. A wave.
That's why I'm sort of saying it out loud now because I look, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I, but I don't, something about him winning every swing state, all seven,
You're getting a
and the
lot of agreement
ballots going
here.
to the Democrats. Something about it doesn't sit right with me, but I also don't know if we'll really find out anything in my lifetime. I don't know. Now, the question I'm going to ask you, and I'm sorry because you're probably sick of this one, but everybody that knows I know you wants to know if you're going to see a dime of the money, what it's up to now, and what is the next step for you getting the payout?
Well, yes, I am getting the money because I have the greatest attorney in the history of law. Robbie Kaplan was just born with a lust for war, just a lust for war. And she has won every single argument in the United States Court of Appeals, every single argument. And so he keeps losing. He's almost exhausted all of his appeals. If it goes to the Supreme Court, the 83 million may go to the Supreme Court. Okay. It may go. I have no idea. Do you think the Supreme Court would take a case where the president has been found liable for sexual abuse? Not sure if take that.
I'm fearful that they would because of this particular court, but prior to the justices that were appointed during Trump, which was Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Coney Barrett, prior to that, I would have thought it was a slam dunk for your team. But now and once again, I know I sound tinfoil hat. I apologize. I've never in my life, and I can name all the justices in the order they were appointed and who they were appointed by, and I have tremendous respect for the court. I believe that the current Supreme Court is illegitimate, and that's just my opinion, but it also breaks my heart. And so I would be worried for you if that happened. On the other hand, if anyone could do it, it would be Robbie Kaplan. And can we just take a second? Will you also name the rest of the team? Because they really deserve their flowers too.
Yes. And we know what I'm going to do with the money. I'm giving it. There's one thing that Trump loves. There's one thing his ego is tied up in. It's his money. So I'm giving all that 83.3 million to everything that he hates. Women have been put 50 years backwards. I'm going to put most of the money into bringing women back their rights. Okay, the great team. Sean G. Crowley, the Duke of Ferrara, Matt Craig. Let's see. Hey, Matt Harris. Oh my God. Let me see. Dean. We got Dean Moore. We have. I think I got them all.
Joshua Matt.
Oh my God, Joshua will kill me if he sees this. He will literally come to my house. Okay, so yes, Joshua Matz, Lawrence Tribe. Who have I forgotten? I think that's it.
I don't know. Oh, battery.
I think that's it.
Okay.
Okay, that's it. No.
What?
Tell me about your Tennessee case.
Okay. So I have been sued 7 times since the Trump decapitated head photo 8 years ago. And I have had cases in LA Superior Court. I had a next door neighbor that threatened me, and I had a video of it. And I had to go through a 4-day hearing for a temporary restraining order. I was on the stand for 2 days. That guy sued me for 3 years before it was finally dismissed. And I then had I had cases in the Eastern District of Kentucky, which is federal court. I had a case in Kentucky State Court, and these were brought on by about a dozen families from Covington Catholic High School, which is where the MAGA hat kid went to high school. So I think when he allegedly got a settlement from CNN. I don't know the details of that. I hope it was $1. But anyway, I think that's what inspired other families to think maybe there was a check waiting for them and maybe Kathy Griffin would be writing it. And I don't settle. I don't. And so for the latest case, it was in Tennessee federal court. Year 4 of this case, because these cases take a long time. They're all civil cases, not criminal. But anyway, this was a guy that was the CEO of a private hospital company, and he was caught on tape because there were a couple kids doing their prom photo shoot in a hotel lobby, and one of the boys was in a dress. And this guy was upset by that for some reason. And in my opinion, harassing them, knocked the phone out of their hands. They sounded scared to me. At least one of them was a minor. And so I tweeted about it back when Twitter was not owned by Elon. And I didn't even know that it had gone viral on TikTok for a whole day prior to me seeing it. And many people tweeted about it. And we now call those videos Karen videos, when there's someone that we
Yeah.
jokingly call Karen, and they
Yeah.
use the F word
Right.
or they use the
Yeah. Yeah.
homophobic slur and stuff. And so he ended up losing his job, and then he sued me as
Yeah.
if I was the reason he lost his job, when my brilliant attorneys were able to find out that he actually had been allegedly fired, allegedly the day before I even tweeted. And he and his wife also sued me, and
Oh,
she's
I
a good
didn't know
Christian.
that.
Yes, she's a good Christian woman, and I have to say, she went on X and she left a very kind message for me when I was diagnosed with cancer. So I
Oh,
want to thank her for that. She didn't have to do that. And so last week, they finally withdrew the case. So for the first time in 8 years, I have no lawsuits over my head, and I'm just back to being a vulgar comedian, just the way I'm supposed to be. And you and I have that in common as well, as we've been through many depositions and on the stand, and you're the hero. My stuff is chump
you're
change.
the hero too, Kathy, and I'm glad we got the story today. People need to know that behind the scenes, you are going through lawsuit after lawsuit because people won't leave
Yeah.
you alone. They won't leave you alone, but they can't touch you now because you got your salon.
I have the salons. And these salons keep me going. And then I'm sure you found this was the case, but friendships kept me going because I lost a lot of friends 8 years
Oh,
ago. I
I know.
mean, most of my friends, frankly. And so I had to learn how to make new friends at my age. And so that's been something that's been a
You're
wonderful
very
revelation.
good at it. You
Well,
are very
I didn't
good.
even think it was possible. So one more question for the salon, and then I'll let everybody go. But does anybody have a tip for making new friends? Because I think
Oh,
a lot of
good.
get nervous about, well, unless I'm hanging out with my best friend from third grade, I
Yeah,
wouldn't even know, and everybody's on their phone.
right.
And so do you just go up to someone at a party? Do you invite yourself to things? Do you go to church events? Do you go to PTA events? Anybody, just let us know how you make a new friend. Give us some hope, because it's never too late to make new
Ah,
friends.
be
And
curious, says Valerie. Be curious. Ask a new person a question. Where did you get that cute shirt? Or what? Truly, yeah. And we've made friends on Substack. That's true. We really have made friends on Substack. Yeah. I could use a good tip as well. Okay, Kathy, let's have a tip from you.
well, I'm very bold. I reach
I
right
know.
out to people, and I do miss the old Twitter, because
Yeah.
I actually met a lot of people
Me too.
via DMing.
Yeah, me too.
And like, just basically coming out and saying, will you be my friend? And I
Yeah.
have done that, and sometimes they say no, but
Yeah.
most of the time, if you're really
Yeah.
honest and
Yeah.
vulnerable and say, would you be my friend? Or, I'm having a salon and I'd love you to
Yeah.
come, I think you'll have a great time. Or, can I
Yeah.
take you to lunch?
That's
Or,
it. Yes. That
you
an
got to put
invitation.
yourself out there. An invitation.
An invitation works. You and I met through an invitation through our friend Molly Jong Fast. And then,
Molly Jong Fast called me and she said, I'm having a party for E. Jean Carroll, and she's going to be here in person. And I went,
no, you got, oh, no, you got it wrong. She said, I'm having a party for Kathy Griffin. You forgot. That was the party because your movie had come out, a
okay.
hell of a story. So an invitation, just an invitation for coffee, the invitation for a walk, an invitation to a party. You can't help but meet and have a good time. If you have ice cream and cake there, it really helps, so that's nice.
And that's what she does. And it's good to have a combination of people that wouldn't necessarily be in the same place
Yes,
at the same time. Because if
yes,
you remember, another person that was at that party is my tongue in cheek arch enemy, His name is George Conway. So why don't you tell the world about your boyfriend, George Conway?
George Conway is the one who had a little talk with me at Molly Jong Fast Party, which she gave for Kathy Griffin. And he said to me, this is my version, E. Jean, you could sue him. And his version is, I said to him, George, could I sue him? And what George Conway did is he had an iPad with him and he opened it up and he showed me the difference between a criminal case and what's the other case called? A civil case. He showed me the difference and he explained it to me in terms I could understand. It was the first time I thought, He said, Donald Trump said that you lied. Did you lie, Eugene? I said, no, I said the truth. He said, then you have a defamation case. And then he explained why. And he said, and I think I can recommend somebody. Now, you hear that all the time at parties. I'll email you, right? You never hear from them. But the next morning at 8:57, I opened this email and it said introduction. And by God, there it was, an introduction to the woman who opened up gay rights across America, who won Windsor, who trounced the Nazis in Charlottesville.
Mm-hmm.
He was the biggest civil rights attorney of her generation, Robbie Kaplan. And that's what did it. And that's
George. I love him and I love to hate him at the same time. But jokingly, I love him.
I know. And yeah, you always would go there a little bit like this around George. You never quite trusted him, but now you do trust him, right?
Double agent. I love to get the screws to him if I can. I love to give him the business, as they say.
Oh, God. And you do. I wish people could hear it. Anyway, so you and George are like this. Are you dating George?
We have yes. I am married to George Conway and I'm announcing it here on Substack. That's why you're a paid subscriber. Kathy Conway. You can see it. You can see it.
I can see the two of you dating. I can see it.
He is very smart. He is quite brilliant.
I think he likes Katie Fang, though.
I do too. But she's taken,
Yeah, I know, but he likes her anyway. But you're not taken.
Oh, we are given the hot gossip on this. I'm telling you, if you guys paid for this salon, you came to a good one.
Wait a minute.
All right, you guys, I'm going to let you guys go. You got to meet the legend herself, E. Jean Carroll, the one, the only, the hero. This is a hero that does wear a cape. I love this woman more than I can tell you. And I love you guys for joining us today and have your own salons I don't care if you have a bowl of soup, get your friends together and just talk and just listen to each other.
Love it.
All right, E. Jean, I love you. Thank you for doing this. I'm so honored.
Love it.
And I love you guys. Thank you for joining us. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Adios.
Bye, honey.